So it's a pleasure and honor to welcome all you here in Startup Grind Vilnius discussion. Startup Grind is a community, Silicon Valley-based community that originated with the idea to promote, mentor, and educate young entrepreneurs around the globe. So I'm very happy that Vilnius has joined the crowd. Yeah, it's almost 200 cities around the globe that have Startup Grind chapters. I'm Mykolas Lepeška. I'm a co-founder of Network of Diaspora Professionals Global Lithuanian Leaders. So the idea of the network is to join people who affiliate themselves with the Lithuania under one banner for the benefit of Lithuania, making it an open, competitive economy and society. I've also founded or co-founded various startups. All of them were unsuccessful so far. Now I'm working on food in the food industry, and it seems I'm finally catching some luck. So based on my experience and my speaking skills, I'll try to extract as much useful information from these two guys who are from a managing team of TRAFI. It's a great Lithuanian startup who, by the way, today have won Young Entrepreneurs of the Year award from Swedish Business Awards competition. I've just arrived from there, so let's give a nice round of applause to these young gentlemen. Okay, guys, so maybe Regimantai, could you please give us a short snapshot of what TRAFI is today? Okay. And then we'll see how we came there.
Okay. So TRAFI is the world's most accurate public transport app. It helps you to plan your trip from point A to point B with the most accurate data, taking into consideration all the real-time changes. You could see your bus moving real-time on a map, etc., etc. So a lot of these things are unparalleled. And because of that, we've been selected as a official app in Rio during the Rio Olympic game. We've been announced as an official app, and yeah, so we're expanding very rapidly. We started off here in Vilnius, and maybe some of you know it was Maršrutai.lt once 7 years ago. From there, we expanded further in the Baltics. After that, it was Turkey, Russia, India, Indonesia, Brazil. And many more markets followed after this. So yeah, but in a nutshell, it's the ultimate app to move within a city.
Okay, cool. So thanks. And now Jurgi, you are the CTO and co-founder of TRAFI. So maybe you could tell us about how you came up with the idea, and before that. Tell us about yourself. So, how did you come up with such an idea? Okay, what's your background?
Yeah, so I guess you can trace it back to high school. Okay. So I was always quite interested in programming and algorithms and programming competitions and all that. So yeah, from pretty early on, I was. It was pretty often that I wrote, algorithms to find routes from point A to point B in some graphs and some competitions. So you could say I was solving these problems from early on, and that's what I that's what I like, and that's what my specialty in TRAFI is also the chief technology officer. So okay. I'm about algorithms, data analysis, and that was kind of the origins of TRAFI. So, well, after high school, I went to MIT to study.
Just peanuts, random stuff. MIT, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not too many Lithuanians there. I've met two, I think. But Yeah, so that was interesting. I mean, also it wasn't such a kind of clear path, you could say. I was always in between computer science and physics. So I've also spent quite a significant part of my life studying physics. But anyway, I finished physics in MIT, then I came back to Lithuania, started working in Adform. It's actually, well, I was kind of the first employee there in Vilnius, and now it has like, I don't know, 500 people. So that was interesting. But so when we were working there, and it was still a small company, we were thinking that it would be cool to do something of our own. Didn't really have any clear vision, I have to admit, but so for me it was, it would be cool to, like, there was no route finder for public transport then in Vilnius, but there was a website, Vilnius Transport LT, with all the nice timetables and everything. It was pretty groundbreaking already. That they can find all information about buses on the website, and I thought, why not do a route planner on top of that? It was kind of
something more usable, huh?
Yeah, something more usable and pretty straightforward, for me.
So before I ask about how you formed the founding team, I want to come back to the MIT thing, because I think it's really something extraordinary. How did you came up with the idea? Like, I didn't try going there. Has anybody tried to apply to MIT? How you even came up with this idea, and how many universities did you apply to, and how did you choose the finalist? Tell us about that, please.
Yeah, I applied to one.
Okay.
So that was interesting in retrospect. I guess it could have turned out quite different if I didn't get it. But
so you didn't have a plan B?
Well, I guess plan B was to go to Vilnius University, MIF.
Okay, MIF. Okay.
It could have turned out all right as well. But I mean, the idea, I guess it came from, like I said, I was doing quite a lot of these programming competitions and physics competitions, like Olympiads. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have been to these. So there was kind of a small community of other, other students who kind of are really interested in programming and are looking for top places in the world. So I was one of them who kind of did some research on what are the cool places to study in the world. I wouldn't have found it myself. Like, I don't think so. So there was some lucky coincidences, you could say. But once I knew that's like the best place for computer science. Well, then I had to try.
Yeah, and luckily you did. You did try, and you went there. So now, from my experience, having a good founding team is really key to a startup success. And I've had few of those, and so I know the critical importance of the team to the success of the whole thing. So you said that while working in Adform, something started cooking up in your head. Why not do a planner, traffic planner, route planner? How did you proceed from that?
Yeah. So
in the team's kind of.
Yeah. That's a very good question, and I think a pretty useful lesson too. So we basically. So when we started, it was me, then it was Mantas Visbaras, who was a classmate of mine and who I know like since a long time ago, and then Regimanats Urbanas joined shortly. So and then we started, like we created a company and we started building the website which resulted in Maršrutai LT, and that was a project for quite a while, but we did it in a very, very amateur way. So like I said, it was just a hobby project. We liked coding it. It was fun to get some users to use it. So it's kind of nice thing to have. But so I think indeed, so in terms of the founding team, we were really missing the real kind of entrepreneurial vision, and then fast forwarding a few years, and I think it was only when Martynas Vidanavičius joined, was our fourth co-founder, then it got more serious, and then we managed to secure funding and start working on it full time, because I think we didn't even know that it was possible, and then Martynas said it's easy, we'll just get some money.
Yeah, but one thing is, seeing what competencies are missing in the team. But then, how do you see? How did you make sure that this guy who comes into your team and he's telling guys, okay, so you have this technology, but you have to do it this way. So he started managing the process, I guess, when you entrusted him. So how did you have some screening process? What was the process there? I mean, how did you take him into the team? Or it was... you can't say it was a lucky chance.
No, we knew him. He was a friend of ours.
You've used that credit already, okay?
He was a friend of ours.
Okay.
So he also from Adform. So all the co-founders are worked in Adform at one point or another. And we knew he's a really, really good sales guy.
Okay.
He did really well in that in Adform, and then he worked in London and in Moby, and he was looking. I mean, he was kind of really eager to do a startup, and I think we were really well covered in terms of tech. So that's also, of course, important. So it was all sorted. It was all working. We knew how to build stuff, and so it was a good match. We could see that. I think he was about to do something else. He wanted to do a startup. I don't know. He had some idea. I don't even remember exactly what it was. Well, why don't you better come join us and we can grow this thing, which already is showing. I mean, we already were really popular in Lithuania by that time. So I think we succeeded quite well, even with just with just us. But we were in Lithuania and we had some thoughts that maybe we should go abroad, but didn't really know where to get money from and things like that. He was really eager to do that, so it was a good match.
Okay. Yeah. So he came into the company. He shortly after raised the initial round.
Yeah, in 3 months, I think.
3 months, nice. You've opened some new markets. You've developed a better product. What's next? What was next?
So then the pitch was clear that we were going for mobile first. So up till then it was web only, Maršrutai LT, if you know. And then it was clear that smartphones everywhere, so we have to build a mobile app, and then that we have to go abroad. So we picked Turkey as our first market, and so then opened an office, hired a small team, a few really good guys, like when I was developer, Android developer, backend developer, and executed pretty quickly, in I think few months, maybe less than half a year, we've released the app in Turkey.
And this is when it got renamed to TRAFI.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And we've
got marketing guy.
We've got a new logo and a new name. We couldn't release it as Maršrutai LT.
In Turkey, yes.
We managed to find a pretty short name with .com domain available. Well, kind of available. We we had to re-buy it from someone else, but it wasn't used actively. And yeah, then we launched in Turkey. Still, still a really small team. Like then we didn't have a dedicated marketing guy, so Martinas was doing marketing. I was coding myself and then managing the development. So it worked out well.
And after Turkey?
Turkey, then next was Brazil. Well, we did Latvia and Estonia, but that's kind of, we grouped that into Baltics.
Yeah,
so
home market.
Home market. And the next was Brazil. So Turkey was growing pretty quickly. So that was kind of the first success, and on the basis of which we could raise the next round. And then we also launched Brazil, which was going slower at the time. So I think it was only a bit later when it picked up. Now that we Rio Olympics happen and all that.
Great. So now I want to come to the point where Regimantas joins the team. So when did you feel the need for a guy like him?
Yeah, so that the kind of it was the stage like from the seed to Series A when we were like 7 and then up to 10 people. So it was still really small, like minimal, one, like I said, one kind of developer of each platform and pretty much it and as co-founders. And then, when we showed some success with the seed round, then it was also have to say it was a lot harder to get the next funding round naturally. Like, well, it's 10 times bigger, so it's kind of 10 times harder.
I hope it didn't take 30 months.
No, it took some time and lots of meetings with lots of investors. Yeah, it was far not as easy as seed. But so when we finally managed to do that, then it was really exciting, and it kind of switched to the next next stage. Okay, now we have to scale. Well, at least 5 or 10 markets with whatever we did. At that point, really only Turkey was significant, and Brazil was maybe starting to grow. So yeah, it was obviously we couldn't do everything by ourselves anymore. So Martinas had other things to do than set up Facebook campaigns and yeah, me too. So yeah, we started growing a team. So yeah, more developers, some campaign managers, but then we saw, well, we need to also manage the whole company. Like you start finding out that you can't do everything yourself. So yeah, we needed some people who could help manage the whole thing. So it's and yeah, I think it's really crucial to get the best. Well, always we've gotten the best people in Lithuania. I think that was always one reason for our success, and yeah, so then we were really lucky to have Regimantas joined from marketing side, and like for example Tot with us from product side, and kind of really raising the whole to new level.
Next level team,
yeah,
huh?
Next level
okay,
team.
so Regimantas enters the team, but what happened before that?
So we took a Google guy to manage Facebook campaigns, apparently. Yeah, okay guys, so my name is Regimantas, currently CMO at TRAFI, actually for the last 3 months, so I joined just 3 months ago. But for the last 10 years working in digital marketing. So just a short background, I started off in 15 minutes when it was a startup, but it was not called startup back then. But it was like 3 weeks in operations when I joined them, and actually we had a very quick exit. 6 months later, we've been sold to Norwegian publishing company.
So a successful startup.
Yeah, it's a successful startup with early exit, but it was not startup. Was not called startup back then. So after 15 minutes, actually I got interested. It was only newspaper back then. It was not even internet portal as it is today. And I felt that internet is a thing, and I want to basically somehow, earn my living out of internet. And it was just beginning of all the digital marketing in Lithuania, and media houses, media agencies were establishing their digital departments. And I joined Media House, which was the biggest media agency at that time, and we were forming the first digital unit, consisting of 4 people, which was ahead of the time. Majority of our agencies only knew how to plan Delphi.lt, and that agency wanted to do something more, and this is how I joined. And I joined as a social media manager. We started doing some stuff on Facebook when it had 35,000 active users from Lithuania, so really early days. And since we're doing so much, for 2 years, Google actually noticed us, because Google at that time was increasing their presence in Baltics. They noticed that there are some interesting customers and agencies, and they wanted to get in touch with the most active ones. And that's why in one of the field trips to Lithuania, Google representative met us as an agency, and they said, well, we're expanding our support in Lithuania, we're going to be hiring new people. Oh, you're going to be hiring new people. Okay. And this is how I got to know about that we're looking for a second person. And although I was not looking for a job at that time, I said I need to give it a try. So I applied for that Google role, and 2 months later I was in Dublin. So in 2010 I joined Google, at that time as just an account manager for Lithuania, doing pretty much everything from A to Z. In morning you would do an ad approval, whether this ad is safe to show, in Lithuania or not, or you troubleshoot that someone's credit card was not working. And in the afternoon you would do all the business development, and you would meet with the C-levels of biggest companies, the biggest agencies. You would do whatever it takes to make Google more visible in Lithuania. So I worked in Dublin. And we reached a certain point when we felt that, we need to do more in Lithuania, and we need to establish kind of marketing department there, and also hire business development. So myself and Vytautas Kubilius, who is the current country manager for Lithuania, for the Baltics actually, we both moved in Warsaw. So I worked in Warsaw for 3 years, supporting and growing Lithuania, and later Latvia and Estonia as well. So basically we grew all of these markets, and last year we opened up local office here in Vilnius. So as you know, there's Google office now for the last year, so I'm incredibly proud, because now there's a really large team. It's like now 20 people working to support Baltics. When I joined, I was the second one. And from that point, I think since I felt that I kind of reached this, big milestone, and I was probably more open to opportunities out there. And when TRAFI reached out to me, they're saying, we want to conquer the world. We already mastered our product. We have a, proof of concept in these 10 markets, and we need to go global. And I said, this is awesome. You don't find companies like this every day. And this is how I joined the TRAFI team.
Okay, so we know the big plan, conquer the world, but the smaller steps now?
Yeah, so Jurgis already mentioned, we have a couple of successes. So the goal for TRAFI was always to go in the markets where is a complete mess, where is like really the most chaotic cities of unorganized public transport, meaning there's no good quality data, no real time, and really go and fix that mess. So that was always the goal. And since we kind of mastered how to do that in a couple of cities, we said, it seems that we have this engine, how to do that, and there are a lot of more cities waiting for us to be solved. And so we want to basically, do it in a more scalable way, do it faster, and don't repeat, the same mistakes or the same lessons which we got from launching previous cities, or accelerate, the user acquisition in these cities. And that's what we're trying to do.
So there's plenty of cities with chaotic public transportation. How do you choose the ones you tackle first?
Yeah. So I think there are a lot of factors, and actually it's always a very difficult task. Now, when you have a mobile app, which is kind of a global product, and you could launch it in any market in the world, it's very difficult to pick the right one, because you don't have budget to test and then even run, the test campaigns in many markets. So we, as I think all startups, all companies do, we have some kind of scoring on which cities would be the most suitable, where is the biggest need, for our product. So, and that comes to very naturally to the complexity of transport system. If there's just one city agency providing all means of transport and they have it organized in a nice way, it's not such a big need for TRAFI. But if there are a lot of public and maybe private, public transport types, and there is no real time or no schedules, a thing like a schedules where you go to the bus stop and you see that, there's like 3 buses coming, at 3 p.m. It's not a thing in most of the countries. We're just used to that in Vilnius. But when you go to other markets, we're just far away from that. And yeah, so we really see where is, and of course we're looking for big cities. So that's why we launched cities like Mumbai or Jakarta. So Jakarta is the second biggest city in the world. So if you could really crack that city of that scale, it means that you really know the concept. So yeah, we go for big, emerging, chaotic, unorganized cities. That's
Have you tried Manila already?
We were thinking about it.
Yeah,
I think it's the worst I've seen. Like,
so yeah. So it makes it a perfect candidate. For
yeah.
us to look into that.
Take my vote for that. But okay, so but you launched in Turkey, you say. So that was the first foreign market you entered. So was it just Istanbul?
It was a few cities, but Istanbul first, and still the main one. Then
because I understand you work per city basis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cities, not countries.
Exactly, because each city needs to be worked on individually. So that's the main challenge. It's not like Facebook, like we just turn on and it's the same everywhere. But really, for us, each city you have to work to get all the data, to get all the transport rights, to get the search engine to work well. So yeah, and then of course it makes sense for that reason to work on big cities, because sometimes there's almost similar work if to do a small city or a big city. So then of course you do the big city.
Because payoff is much bigger if you get attraction and you get users.
Yeah, so even that's why it's a bit weird. Even like doing Istanbul in Turkey, and having the app in Turkish and all that, it's not immediately obvious that you should launch 10 more cities in Turkey. It might not pay off. Like it maybe just to stick with Istanbul.
So apart from having technology and having this route planning algorithms, maybe from marketing side, so what are the key points of a successful entry into a new city?
Yeah, so it's a question which we need to answer in different ways in each city. So as Jurgis said, unfortunately, it's not completely scalable from one city to another. And if someone worked in one city, it might not work. So still, we get majority of our users through paid acquisition. So we combine both Google and Facebook, and really optimizing. We're testing third-party networks in some countries where we don't have it. For example, India is still quite difficult to reach through this channel, so we need to kind of really try some local options. And of course, the big chunk of our work goes into the organic growth of these cities, because it doesn't matter how much money you have. Eventually, it will all dry up if you're just gonna pay for the user acquisition. So we're developing a lot of organic acquisition channels, and that through content marketing, through social media, through some local partnerships, integrations with local apps, cooperation with local transport agency. So in some cities, it could be as a preferred or official transport app in that city. So that drives a certain usage.
Yeah, I think what I've seen from my own experience, even launching some, third, fourth for the business. You have this hope that you'll build it and they will come, and they will come in huge quantities, and that never happens, you know. And then you realize that you have to work for every single customer, consumer, user, one at a time, and then it's kind of starts rolling. So
and this exponential growth
never
when, where, So I think really the optimism must be there. Otherwise you don't start.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's
I think
it's a very tough job.
It's very few apps which has this virality. You know, maybe the likes of Tinder or similar apps where you really discover something and you're excited and you show it to someone else. I mean, even if you have the most accurate public transport app in your pocket, it's not necessarily that you're going to show it to everyone at work or, you know, at the party, you know. So it means that you need to build it up for some other channels. So we're trying to do it in the best way possible, in the leanest way possible, so we don't overpay or get the quality users.
Yeah, so user acquisition obviously is a challenge. What other challenges do you see in conquering the world?
You could, Jurgis, say, I'll add up.
Wow, there's
depending
lots,
from marketing or from product or general?
First could be product, then marketing, then general, or general product marketing. We're eager to know everything, you know.
All issues, all challenges.
So product is probably one of the most challenging, and in the sense that, you know, even especially in our case, each city has its own, you know, peculiarities, and you know, if you do it well in Vilnius, that means nothing. Like, and then in Istanbul is completely different. Like then you find that there are no timetables there. You know, you build everything around timetables. So to really understand the market and the users, and I would say that's very difficult, and it's even more difficult if it's a different country. You know, I think, you know, one of the reasons why it just worked for us in Vilnius, well, because you live here, so you know what works, what doesn't. You kind of build it for yourself, and when you're building it for yourself, it's much easier to know what needs to be done. And then when you're building for some, you know, people in Istanbul, and I'm not talking even about like India or Jakarta, you really have no idea. So you kind of build it, and they use it, but not
you do
too
go
much.
There to check it out.
So then we realized very quickly that we have to go there and see how it works, and like we had first prototype, and then we went to Istanbul, and then we realized like it was complete crap. Like it didn't work at all. So so you really have to spend a lot of effort in every to kind of nail all the details right, and then you start seeing the growth.
But now we do have actually country managers in these key markets. We have kind of local people. So of course it helps very much for the whole team, for developers to go there and understand how transport works in that country. But we have kind of community managers and country managers, which is kind of the voice of local users.
And then you know, more global than, I mean, in terms of product, you know, then what do you do next? Like what's the next feature that will make it grow exponentially? And so one of my lessons was that really good product management is crucial, and I think it was we were not too strong in that in the beginning. Technically, I think we're fine.
Of course, if MIT graduate looking after all the things, works
okay,
well.
So from the marketing perspective.
Yeah, so from marketing perspective, I guess it's like for all apps, the biggest challenge is to keep the attention of user, because they have increasingly more and more apps on their phones, and they keep forgetting what they have, and you need to remind them, or they churn, they just never return. So really, building that experience or reminding them about our app at the, kind of the most suitable situations when it's very useful. So that's something I still want to do better. That? So I think we're not there yet. There are a lot of ways with all the push notifications or other channels. There are ways to re-engage with our users who already installed that, because my philosophy is that it's much easier to kind of sell the product to someone who have already your app installed, and just to remind him that he has you installed than to sell it to a completely new user. It just costs much more. So I really want to work on some retention mechanisms. So for example, if someone has an app and we know that he's normally starting his route from this bus stop, and when we know from his geolocation that he's close to that bus stop, he can say, he gets a push notification, hey, just look which buses are coming in the upcoming 2 minutes, since we can see that you're in your home station. So this is when it's very, very accurate. It proactively shows you the information which probably you would care to know, but maybe you forgot that you could know that information. And this is when it's meaningful, for us to remind about ourselves. So I want to really analyze and find more of these useful moments when it's very good for users to know that we're there for him and me, more proactive, So if we manage to do that, that would be great, because it means we can, spend less on acquiring constantly new users, because sometimes, as I'm saying, we have this like an empty bucket, We add a lot of users, but there's like a big hole in that bucket and you lose like big chunk of them.
Still drains, yeah.
Exactly, so you could just fix that, hole at least by a little bit. That would save us some cash.
Yeah, so maybe I can add also what you mentioned. It's kind of the basics, but which we didn't know in the beginning. So like to measure things, right? Like, the whole agile development and metrics and having metrics and really monitoring that. And like in the beginning we were looking. You look at the number of users, and you spend more on marketing and you have more users, and then you're happy, right? And then you stop spending on marketing and you don't have any users. But to monitor the right things, like the retention rate, what percentage of your downloads then return day after, 1 week after, month after. So these are the really crucial metrics, and then you want to focus on them and do A/B tests and see if the feature you made actually makes a difference, or you just you can hype about it and it's a new cool feature and doesn't really make any difference.
Does it make you happy or the user happy?
That's a difference.
That's a very big difference. So guys, what were the the major learning points that you had along the way, maybe?
Yes, I guess that I already mentioned this. Yeah,
so the metrics.
To really measure. Like I said, it's kind of basics, but this whole lean startup, agile development, that really works. I mean, you should read these books if you haven't. To iterate, measure, iterate. So that's definitely the right way to do things. And I think that's maybe even the main learning.
I guess.
And one other, hire best people. I think we were I don't know, lucky or good with that, but ever since the beginning, it was really great team, so we could do things quickly.
What would be things that you would have made different if you had another, second chance for a start? What would you do differently?
I have a really experienced product manager
from the start, early on. Okay, what else?
What else? Maybe also focus more. Well, we did. I think with Istanbul, it was really good. We focused on one market. I think when we started launching more in the beginning, also maybe it started going a bit too quickly. Like I said, then we realized, well, no, we have to really You have to really focus on each market and get it right. You know, it's not gonna just work automatically everywhere.
Okay, but now coming back to the product manager, what would have changed if you had a product manager early on?
Well, I don't know. Like again, you know,
Because
we
okay,
could,
product manager. What does he do?
Okay, like for example, so we developed lots of features, right? Which like I don't even really know now if they helped us at all or not. You know, so you spend 3 months developing something, and you kind of think that helped, but you don't really know. So it's things like that. I mean, to really focus on the useful things, and that you can learn what works and what doesn't, rather than, you know, just do things randomly and hope that, or not randomly, I mean, from your, I guess, gut feeling, which sometimes is right, but sometimes isn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this whole discipline of like, again, to repeat myself, especially in countries which you don't understand well enough, I mean, you have to be really careful and really understand what the users want.
Yeah, and I think it's not only product manager but also marketing who's the advocate of user, and really says, guys, you're very excited about developing this feature. Have you ever measured the impact of that, or has anyone asked you to do that? How about we actually hear from the user and understand and learn about their use pattern, and actually they're sending feedback, you know, we're sending a lot of feedback, what we like, what we don't like. Sometimes they confuse us with actually transport providers. So we're saying, oh, that bus came late, you know, oh, you TRAFI, I give you 1 star on Google Play now. So sometimes they don't differentiate actually us, that we're just providing whatever is there happening in the city, you know.
Oh, we're still getting that in Vilnius all the time.
Yes.
Oh, I left my scarf in the bus.
Yeah. So yeah, but anyways, but the point is that people actually speak to us, they engage with us, and we just need to listen to that and organize it. And of course, you can't lose the focus and try to fulfill all their asks or needs, but, you know, really crystallize a few strategic ones and really do that. They will appreciate it.
So how much of your decisions are driven by data versus gut feeling?
Well, so I would say most now.
Most are data driven.
Yeah. I mean, no, like I said, we learned that that we need to do that. Yeah, we're striving to make them data driven.
I think
that's not always possible. Sometimes you have to make a bet and hope that it works out. But
I think it's always balancing the two.
A gut feeling as well. Yeah. No, but for me,
the intuition is also very important.
Yeah, working 6 years at Google really gave me a mindset that whatever is not measurable is just nonsense. So I'm really obsessed with numbers during my 6 years at Google, and I was trying to find it. Even when I came to TRAFI, I think it's excellent when you join the organization and you have this critical external view. And I think Jurgis would agree that it's very good when new people join. We could sometimes question everything, and, you know, saying, why would you do that? How do you measure that? How do you know that it got any better? And just an opinion, it's not a good argument.
Yeah.
And for me, number is ultimate. But yes, sometimes I think the gut feeling is also quite important in deciding on features and on cities where to launch next.
After you train your gut.
After you train your gut with numbers, you can trust it.
Yes, precisely.
I mean, gut feeling works perfectly fine in Vilnius, like you said, but it might not in Jakarta.
You can't fully rely on it at all instances.
Okay, guys. So before we move to Q&A session, I guess the audience is ripe with questions. I'm just gonna ask, how did you score the official app of Rio Olympics? I think it's a very cool accomplishment. Or how did it happen?
You could I don't
know. I thought you know.
No, basically, so there was a competition to select the official app. Basically, since at that time we already have a very good data in Rio, and that was very, very good reason for us to differentiate ourselves and among the users in Brazil, but also for whoever is coming to visit the Olympics. And it was a strategic decision. And there was some of our big rich in cash competitors who also participated in that competition. So we've been very, very happy and proud that we've been selected. But
yeah, it was a bit surprising. Like you would think in Brazil there might be some
dodgy things
going on, and the guys who have most influence there would win. And I mean, we know we have better data than them and better apps than them. But yeah, somehow I think that it was funny. They hired some Swedish guys to organize this competition. Because like to make it just completely transparent and fair, and yeah, so
that's why we won.
Because we are the best.
Yes, sure. Congrats on that. And how did it look in numbers? I mean, how many trips were planned during Olympics using your app?
No, it was definitely
something approximate numbers.
No, I wouldn't be able to tell about the numbers, but there was definitely a spike, which is still lasting now. So since it kind of came, went up
and stabilized,
and it's still at that level. Although it's the end of Olympics and Paralympics, we still see. So we're just wondering whether that will eventually go at the lower level as it was before Olympics, or it's gonna remain there. But it had that impact, and it was a good reason. Plus, the whole official Olympic app story helped us a lot in launching in our cities, because it's already, even if you're launching in a new city, it adds so much more credibility that you've been the Olympic app. So it's helping us with a user growth not only in Brazil but in all the future launches.
So I mean, some getting official recognition might be a good part of a strategy in international expansion.
Yes, exactly.
I think irrespective of your industry,
absolutely,
of your business.
And it's a very, very good validation that you're on a good track, doing the right thing. So it's not only your users appreciating that by giving you a high rating on Google Play or App Store, but it's official organizations also recognizing that. So.
Okay, so just one more question. So. How does it? How do you organize the international expansion, being here in Lithuania? So you hire local guys in each country. You go there yourselves.
So
what else?
Now we have a kind of a pattern to hire local guys. So we in most modern countries we have 2 local guys. So one for partnerships and one for customer support and translations and all that. Sometimes we if it's not as key, like we might just do kind of freelance customer support, but we still need someone who knows the local
peculiarities
things and language and stuff like that. Some go ourselves, but not all now.
But actually, to be more precise, our international team is being managed from London.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, our business development kind of manager who is managing international expansion is actually, because there's also office in London.
All right. So we have offices in or presence in how many countries now?
I don't know exactly.
Seven or eight now, yeah. So kind of bigger offices in Vilnius and London, and like these 2 people teams, which are either working in co-working spaces like here, or from homes, or from Regis offices. Yeah, so that's in 5 markets.
But most people are here in Vilnius. So
but majority, the whole majority of the team is here.
Cool. All right, so guys, do you have any questions? Monetize.
So we to get investor money. No, yeah, we don't really monetize at the moment. So, but yeah, there's a plan to, yeah, basically once we grow strong in the market, then we can work with local agencies and, for example, sell tickets, or well, resell tickets, and then we can get a percentage of that. So that's one of the ideas. Yeah, so that kind of also falls in the same category. So public transport is one of the options, and yeah, we are looking to add more options. Yeah, like Ubers, and there's similar local players in the emerging markets, and yeah, so same idea. If we do ride referrals, you can get a percentage for
that. So we're looking for people mostly who has a background or related to public transport in that country. So some of our TRAFI employees are coming from either the transport agencies from these countries. So we want to have someone who knows the corridors in these institutions, and if we need, because in many countries our success depends whether we have quality data, if we have real-time data, which is very critical for us to provide this ultimate traffic experience. So we really look for someone who has a good network there, who has some background, educational or work background. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
No. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. So we are thinking a lot about urban mobility in general. So for example, in integrating Uber and what other means of transportation will be available, and maybe self-driving cars at some time in the future, so yeah, so we kind of we want to cover all these cases. I don't know if, yeah, it's gonna be a complicated ecosystem. So there's self-driving cars that'll probably be owned by someone, and maybe someone will manage them, but then we'll still can be on top of that and offer different options. So you can choose between the public transport of self-driving cars or Uber or whatever. So from our perspective, then all these are just different means of transport, and we are kind of, I guess, then the one place where you can choose between these options. So that will be a good position, because then we can we can be the entry point. And
yeah, actually, I already prefer your app for the orange bicycles, for example, because the native app is super happy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good example. So we want to continue that.
I think this question comes from the contradiction that when pitching to investor, you have to show the monetization strategy and blah blah blah, and it's like the textbook truths. But in some cases like yours, I guess, when you have a really global product, that is not necessarily the case, and people just buy the idea and buy the team, buy the product with the idea that since you have the potential to have like really huge numbers of users, you will find a way to monetize them. So I think there's sometimes there is a difference in the product.
You have to have an answer to that question. Yeah. To investors.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably can't answer that.
So that's a yes.
I mean, yes, but partly because actually the public transport works really well in Vilnius. I mean, if you think otherwise, it's really well organized here, and buses go according to time. So there's a lot more challenges in other cities. So we kind of do a lot more work in other cities. But yeah, I mean, if the bus comes according to timetable, it's pretty easy to have a good experience.
Google just launched public schedules for Vilnius. Did you see any decline in usage because of that? Or?
Oh yeah, good question. No, I don't think we noticed.
So people still using TRAFI?
Yeah, maybe long term it will have an effect. But people who already use TRAFI, I mean, will use TRAFI. So maybe it affects the how many new users.
I just wanted to add on these things. So I've been to majority of these developing countries like India, Jakarta, I don't know, Philippines, and I mean I would say like barely any public transport actually exists there, right? It's more of the individual drivers that take care of the people, right? Do you anyhow engage them or like try to engage into these things? Because I mean, the public transport, it doesn't depend on you. It depends on the government how well they're going to develop it in the future, right? So it's more of the individuals who actually have the majority of power there.
Yeah, so those are really hard cases then. I mean, if there's no centralized authority at all, then you have to go to like 100 different companies, and then that's a big challenge. And I don't think we've yet launched a city like that. I mean, or they do have some central authority. They might not know exactly what's going on, but there's usually a place where you can get some information, like a paper. I don't know how things go. So we did this interesting project in Ahmedabad in India, which we haven't launched yet, but it was what Regimanats mentioned, where we actually got some people to drive on all these different lines and map them out with our app and kind of import the data. And yeah, that was the case. Like that, pretty much only the drivers knew the route. Like there was no centralized data. But there was like a depot where you could go and find out all the different drivers and go from there. Other cases, for example, again in Jakarta, there are these main corridors, the BRT lines. We start with those, and those are the more reliable ones. So you can have that, and then if you have that with this Gojek Uber thing, and that's how a lot of people travel. But yeah, I mean, in terms of expanding the coverage, I sometimes need to choose what's what you include and what's not worth it. Yeah, so like I said, conquer the world.
Yeah, but you have to conquer some.
No trips planned without TRAFI.
So I mean, we want to be in every city. We want to be, have all the buses.